Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters here as we continue things in the brackets. We're still in the round of 8 as we're going to move on to our second one in just a moment. For now, we just saw Alive move on in fantastic fashion, 3-2 against Innovation. And now we move on to another spectacular TvT. And I'm joined by Maynard and Rotterdam. These two, that was amazing.
I'm still a little lost for words, James. Like, one of these series, it's always really cool when you're here at the event and you get so caught up in the games and it's just like, oh my god, like there's so much stuff happening. That final game, I mean, the first 4 games, obviously Honor Grounds was kind of a bub, and one of the other games was a little bit more one-sided. Proxima that was after the Doom drop, but then we had 2 great games already, and then you just hope that game 5 is going to be awesome. I said no Reapers. Well, we didn't get Reapers, we got Insanity. Like, that's amazing. I've never seen a live play that good.
Yeah, beautiful series. Best TvT that I've seen in recent memory that I can think of. This one coming up, though, has the potential to be, you know, similar, if not better. We've got ourselves TY.
Better? Well,
I mean, TY has been playing pretty sick TvT, and GuMiho, of course, beat Innovation 2-1 when they met each other. So I think that this could be a bum clencher as well.
TY had a little bit of a rough group stage in terms of going up against the Terrans. Did lose to Jack G, may have lost another one as well, I can't quite recall, but definitely lost to Jack G during all of that. So with GuMiho playing kind of his own style, he just does what GuMiho does. Is TY got to be very, very careful here in this TvT?
Absolutely. Didn't GuMiho beat Innovation in the group?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I mean, and he looked great in those games as well. That was a very impressive performance. GuMiho winning his group, I was blown away by that. Everybody was talking about Dark or Innovation to win the group, and then probably Showtime third, but it could be Eternal, it could maybe be GuMiho, and Mana was kind of the outsider of that group, but he impressed us a lot. He looked incredibly good. And we saw what it meant. I mean, Alive also looked really good in his group. And look what Alive just did in the quarterfinal. So, yeah, if you're TY right now, you have to be nervous. At the same time, I saw TY play some really good TvT in the final of WESG, where he went up against Maru. Maru was on an absolute roll that tournament. He went 16-0 into the grand final, but TY was able to stop him, won that grand final 4-3. So I don't really know what to expect. All I can say is that I hope it's half as good as what we just saw.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you guys for any predictions. At this point, all the TvTs are all over the place. Who knows what could happen? So, without further ado, we've already seen plenty of amazing TvTs, and now GuMiho and TY determine who moves through to the semi-final.
After a crazy TvT, our second quarterfinal match is another Terran versus Terran. Will our first player be able to make it to the top 4 for the first time after nearly 2 years, or will it be the WESG champion making it to the semifinal? Give it up for GuMiho and TY!
GuMiho versus TY. A TvT for the ages here as GuMiho opens up with the infamous Korean water drink there. Jeff would be very proud.
Oh, he would be. He'd have a lot to say about it, but he'd have a lot to say about this series as well. This is what Terran dreams are made of, like this final bracket here with all these Terrans just dominating, doing so well, playing these amazing TvTs as well, and we've got yet another one here to find out who's going to be advancing on to the next round here from these two to play tomorrow in the semi-finals at Spodek. A lot on the line here. You get a whole night of rest as well, which is really nice. You get to think about your opponents of tomorrow, but before that, they're going to have to beat one another there. And I have to say, if I was one of these guys, I might have a little bit of stage fright having to play after the series we just saw, because it's going to hard to live up to that Alive versus Innovation series for sure.
It's so rare we get one like that. The player who hasn't had a lot of hype for him going into the event, you know, suddenly performing like that. But funnily enough, GuMiho here has really stepped up so far this event. He did take down Innovation yesterday, and facing off against TY. TY is just so solid, a guy who pioneered so many different styles, so many build orders, one of the few true macro Terrans in the TvT matchup. All right, we're gonna go into map number 1 on Newkirk Precinct. And the red Terran player spawning in the bottom right-hand side, playing for Psystorm Gaming, it is GuMiho!
Or Gumi God, as they call him. Embrace the meme. His opponent in the southwest, playing as the blue Terran. It is the beast himself, TY! Looking to add $100,000 to his bankroll after already winning quite a bit of money earlier on.
In a TvT at WESG.
Yeah, 200,000 back then. That would be a hell of a couple months there for him if he was able to achieve that.
I think it was like 9 years as a pro gamer or something, and then he wins his first championship, and it's $200,000. You know, he was quite emotional after that. He said it was, you know, such a huge moment for him to suddenly win and earn so much money there. But GuMiho, it's funny how these players match up. I feel like it's the battle of creative, out of the box, very different Terran in the form of GuMiho up against dead set standard TY.
Yeah.
TY plays a lot like Innovation. I think he definitely doesn't sit back as long as Inno, where Inno's happy to just camp behind sensor towers forever. But definitely in the early game, TY loves that same double Raven 3 command center build that we saw Innovation use in the majority of his games this tournament.
An interesting scout here by TY, just checking right outside of his base for any kind of proxies that he thought GuMiho maybe might have gone for. You just mentioned, you know, GuMiho is a special brand of Terran, so you need to look out for these builds here that he can throw in.
Yeah, he's a bit of a madman for sure.
GuMiho strikes me as one of those Terrans that's basically every time will skip on that medivac once he reaches his starport, go for a tech lab on it and grab either a Banshee or a Raven. Most of the time, Ravens, they've really come back into fashion with these auto turrets nowadays. Like we've seen quite a few of them, and they are powerful.
I've been talking to a lot of the Korean pro gamers, and they said they weren't really sure where the Raven fits, but they watched a lot of Nathaniel's stream, and they finally figured it out. Just make a lot of Ravens every matchup, and you'll do really well.
But they haven't fully understood the whole purpose, though. It's by time to battle cruises. Maybe they'll get there eventually. Might take them a couple months, maybe a few years, but they'll get there.
That's the next evolution. Of course, GuMiho has shown a few creative and very different styles of attacks. We saw him do some Reaper Hellion into Cyclone attacks previously. This time, interestingly, even though he's expanding, he's gone 2 Reapers, and he's leaving them at home, so he's really hoping TY is going to come in for the scout, and he wants to jump on top of that and catch it. Is he going to react quick enough? I don't know. TY's right there. TY sees the Hellion. He's got to get on out of there. That Hellion is very fast. It can chase it down.
Oh, I love it when you start whispering. Pig is on the chase and going to be looking to try and score that Reaper. He gets it. GuMiho with the first very important snipe there. Taking out that Reaper, denying a complete scouts from TY. And then behind this, he's just going to be the standard starport, finishing just a little bit later than TY's, who's going for a medivac. And his usual Widow Mines, probably his favorite unit, if I had to guess, with the Marine.
Yeah, TY really favors a 6 Marine Widow Mine drop sometimes. 6 Marine Widow Mine drop sometimes to open up in his TvTs. A good way to put on a bit of pressure without really overcommitting. Of course, we saw it live use that in one of the previous series as well. Second Cyclone does start up for GuMiho. I think this is the build he used against Innovation in one of their games, actually, where he goes for, I think it's a 3 Cyclone, 8 Marine medevac push, along with 2 Reapers and a Hellion. We'll have to see how it plays out, and if that is what he actually ends up going for in the end. For now, just sending an empty medevac across the map to scout.
Kind of like the Raven, the Cyclone is also a unit that's like got a weird place where it's pretty strong, but you don't see that many of them. It would be like early on, and actually GuMiho finding a little bit of a hole here in the defense of TY. He's going to come through there. Already got 2 SCVs looking to try and score more, but at home he's being countered. That Widow Mine with a lot of potential to get a massive detonation. And it detonates even though he scanned because he was not careful enough.
Huge hit there for TY. TY's Marines going ham in GuMiho's mineral line. What looked like a pretty good position here for GuMiho, leaving his units at home, but they just weren't in the right position. And TY gets in a very nice spot here. The Cyclone trying to fight these Marines. It will be able to overwhelm them with its nice damage output, and the lock-on should shoo this medevac away. But already, the damage is done. TY up 3 workers at the end of that. And
really causing a nuisance there for GuMiho. Both players trading a little bit of blows. At the end of it, TY with a slight advantage.
Yeah, supplies about even here for both players. Nice escape here on that Medivac. I was worried he might not be able to make it out because there was no afterburners, but eventually got that and didn't overcome it, stay there, just dropped one poor and sad Marine to try and buy some time behind.
And extra barracks are going to be going down here for TY. No fast third command center on the way, wanting to get up his production very nicely. And just a single engineering base. So TY wants to go for a very similar style that Alive was doing in a lot of the games, going for a lot of Marines, you know, medevacs, tanks, and just single upgrades to start out, wanting to be able to get position on the map and also stay very safe. From GuMiho, it looks like he'll already be loading up a big drop. I mean, this is a triple drop. It's not a doom drop, guys, but it will be coming across and potentially doing some nice damage. Back at home behind this, more barracks are going down for GuMiho, so both players, neither one wants to commit to that fast third CC.
It's interesting that GuMiho wants to be this aggressive here early on against a Terran that he knows is going to be on 2 bases, and most likely in his base, maybe he thinks that TY wants to drop as well.
Oh, it's a trap! Don't go in there! Don't unload! Oh, good pull back there from GuMiho. TY had those Marines just out of vision, already had a tank sieged up. If GuMiho started unloading, he would have been in big trouble.
Yeah. I like that GuMiho scans. He's like, whew, thank God, let's get out of here. I'll be back later. Maybe actually sending the Medivacs that he's got on the top left-hand side ready to drop into the natural eventually might be a good option. And he's going to do just that. He's going to go all the way around. Try and spot, I think, when GuMiho would move out. Maybe leave one Marine in front of his base. No, he's just going to drop to try and get that gas there.
Drop location. Yeah, he's going to just drop a few units, but realizing there's a siege tank there, will pull all of those out except for 3 Marines. Even going to pick up that siege tank. A nice little bit of harassment. GuMiho with some good moves. But what I've got to bring your attention to, guys, is the infrastructure. That early damage TY did. If we look at the bases, you can see here the 4th and 5th barracks just starting for GuMiho. His stim just started. If we take a look at TY's base, 5 barracks up and running. Add-ons going down. Stim's already done. Combat shields is on the way. And his +1 weapons is finishing as GuMiho's is only starting. So TY has a strong minute or 2 here in this mid-game. He's got a lot of Marines, he's got siege tanks, he's got medevacs, and he is pushing out onto this map.
TY, every single time I look at his base, it just looks so clean. This guy is just so solid with the macro, it just doesn't miss a beat. All of these Terrans have just been so impressive, I have to say, in this tournament. And TY looking to push their forward here. He's got 2 tanks and 2 Cyclones here, some good potential, but with GuMiho having 3 tanks himself, I want to actually do them maybe go into some sort of air control, and we see 2 Vikings about to come out for GuMiho, so since he's set up defensively and with more tanks, he should be quite fine. I think he just starts chipping away at those Medivacs, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to drop on top.
Ooh, a nice little Cyclone elevator here, but I don't think it's going to work. Actually, the Marine's a little bit slow to react. That Cyclone will get a siege tank kill. Not too bad to pick up, but he does lose a medevac as well, so not the most amazing trade. TY here, though, this window where he had stim and +1, it's starting to close, so GuMiho really shutting down any angle of attack for TY, and TY is going to have to just withdraw, and I mean, he's going to need to put down a 3rd command center as he pushes out with this next wave of reinforcements.
4 Vikings out for GuMiho, though, so he's going to have some nice air control. If he can use that very well, he can keep on edging forward with those tanks. Yeah, that's a nice lead. 4 against 2 is always nice to have.
My God, look at TY's map vision. He's got units everywhere. TY has got units all over the place. I don't think GuMiho really sees anything right now. This is actually just great from TY. He spots everything. I'm a bit worried about GuMiho not being ready for a huge doom drop in the near future. This is a little bit hard for him.
TY's ahead on the upgrades, by the way. Like 1-1's about to complete, and he's got a 2nd eBay and armory on the way. So if he can just keep that up, maybe eventually get a fight with an upgrade lead, that would be really good for him. The first sensor tower got there, though. You mentioned the lack of vision from GuMiho, and I think he wanted to work on that. So the bottom part of the map is going to be covered with that.
This is very important.
I love that mind game, by the way. It's so funny, like where you get a sensor tower, so you think that the opponent's not going to come in, but because he thinks that you're going to be thinking that he's not going to be coming in.
Yeah.
Then he's more likely to go for some Ignite Afterburner.
We can see 2 drops down there, actually, I believe, in the bottom south of the map. But a big engage in the middle. TY going to jump on top of this opportunity, shaving off a lot of GuMiho's units, but GuMiho saves most of the tanks. Very nice reaction from both players. Oh, this is looking very tight right now. TY is tied neck and neck with GuMiho. GuMiho here, he does have a big engage coming in the surround, the flank with the Marines on the north side. that most of them do get shredded. I think he's got the numbers, though. He's going to overwhelm the siege tanks, dislodges TY from his side of the map, and pushes him back.
TY was missing a lot of his army, but that's because that's loaded up in 5 medivacs here down there. Looking to try and drop the main of GuMiho, who might not be ready and might have to counter-attack into TY's natural. TY fully knows about this move.
There's only 4 Marines here. He's pulling all his SCVs, but I don't think that's going to help. They're all just going to go into the meat grinder. TY sets up a beautiful position. GuMiho knows he needs to do something, so he starts to set up here. Nice siege tank elevator, but I think TY has a few too many Marines.
Oh, it is so good, actually, that he saved these tanks, because actually now you're just going to redrop them on their high grounds. The Marines definitely should join this force here eventually. But it's just going to be tanks chipping away at each other right now, with GuMiho getting the better end of this fight.
Yeah, but meanwhile, TY is in the main base. He's going to take out that orbital. These Marines, though, realizing there's nothing defending the natural, are just going to stim on in and start chipping away.
Oh, he's going to get his +2. If he targets that eBay here, he's going to cancel his +2. GuMiho's main base is falling right now. It's already down. And TY is going to power through. He's got a 3rd base on the way. GuMiho is the one that needs to make something happen right now. But if he rushes in, he's going to lose everything in the game.
They're still dead even in army supply right now. TY, though, has this nice mining on the 3rd base as well as his natural. If he can just keep building units, which he is right now, 5 Marines building at a time, a siege tank about to pop, medevac's on the way. GuMiho's only chance is these Liberators. He needs to use the air superiority. He needs to take some sort of crazily efficient engagement here.
He needs to rejoin those forces, actually. With maybe the Liberators. Like, I know he's covering that ramp right now, but he's going to keep on edging forward slowly here. That's 3 tanks and 2 Liberators together. Such a dangerous force. Those Vikings helping as well against the medivacs, but he's getting chased away here a little bit by TY, who's buying time right now.
Oh, there's a huge engage right now, actually, on the left-hand side. The tanks jump forward. They get 1 tank, but almost all of TY's tanks get obliterated. A great elevator forward here from GuMiho.
GuMiho's going for it. He's pulling the boys here. He's all in. He's going to go for a big attack, and it's either going to work or he's going to have lost the game. We could have a draw still again on this map. What is it with this map, man? It keeps on happening. There almost was one in Live versus Innovation.
What does TY have in the back corner of this main base? I know he's been building units. He's managed to get a big ball of Marines out. We can see that. Okay, so this is really slowing down GuMiho. He can't just shove his way in super fast. At the same time, GuMiho, he's got 1 command center floating back across the map. He's going to break through here. He's going to overwhelm these last SCVs and Marines. TY, he might have to lose these Marines, but he wants to take as many of GuMiho's units out with him. GuMiho, though, wants to be careful. He needs to just use the siege tanks to clean up these Marines for free.
Yeah, TY's walking back with the army that was across the map right now. That includes the 2 tanks that he's got. But it's only 2 tanks against the 5 of GuMiho, so fighting is still going to be extremely difficult, especially considering there's Liberators.
There's 2 Vikings out for TY. These 2 Vikings against the 2 Vikings of GuMiho are very important because whoever has the air superiority will be able to leverage those Liberators, and that's going to be massive here as GuMiho cleans up the last units in the main, but he loses his orbital. Wow. Oh man, that's GuMiho's last main structure. All he has is those buildings left on the right. Even if TY loses an engagement, he's still going to have the chance to potentially run over there and just kill those last structures off.
And also I talked about a draw, but they still got Vikings and Liberators that we need to mine there. Oh, I just lost the Liberators. Oh no, he's still got 2 right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like GuMiho's army is bigger and it's better with these Liberators. If he keeps on edging forward slowly, eventually he can let his tanks go forward.
Oh, GuMiho, though, he's just walking right in here. This is a crazy engage from GuMiho. What's he doing? His unit's not sieging up at all. All the Marines taking massive splash damage. The SCV is not in front to tank.
Yes, enough anyway, it looks like, because the SCVs did quite a bit of tanking and TY was not ready.
TY has a couple Vikings, a few Marines. He's trying desperately to get out more units, but TY was pulling home here, the wrong idea. Maybe he should have gone for the base trade. He's only got a couple of Marines left.
GuMiho had a lot of a couple of minerals to repair his tanks actually, so he brought back these units to full hit points. There's just gonna be too much for TY to handle. He's down to his last few forces. He's gonna try to evacuate, but there's still Vikings. Or 1 Viking alive, actually.
1 Viking left alive. Where is that Viking right now? It's there on the ground.
The mission might be to kill this guy and then play for the draw. This might be his best option there. Obviously, he might try to re-expand before up there, but I mean, obviously GuMiho is going to be attacking that momentarily.
This game just
He's repairing his own Vikings.
This game just got crazy. GuMiho, though, he's just going to be relentless. He knows he wants to push in. He wants to kill this TY. I think he's realizing what he needs to do to win this game. He's using a scan there. That orbital is now getting very exposed. The tank's coming up with the Marines. He's got to be careful. Both players, everything is balanced on a nice edge right now. Most of TY's army supply is medevac, so it's very deceptive.
Where's the Viking?
He's basically got a personal medevac for every single Marine.
He sent the Viking back.
This is a really weird choice, actually, by GuMiho.
Yeah, TY could
his army
actually
in half.
fight this army on the top left.
It's mostly SCVs. What have we got there? Like 3 or 4 Marines, a siege tank, and a few SCVs, I think.
For these 2 tanks are still pretty dangerous.
It's 9 Marines with 6 medevacs, 11 Marines now, actually. TY still finding a way to queue out units from wherever he can. And keeping that orbital alive is very important here for TY.
Oh wow, he's got quite a few Marines actually queued. If he can catch that half of the army here and kill it, then maybe he can just camp and defend against the next wave. But I mean, there's still quite a few tanks alive, 3 on these sides.
Even that side, though, very vulnerable. If the Marines just drop on top of these siege tanks, really, I actually think TY, as he gets out more Marines, I think he's finding an opening, but GuMiho, he's going to go down there. If he can find those Marines and cut them off before they group up, that's going to be very important. I think GuMiho needs to regroup his army. Otherwise, TY can definitely overwhelm one half.
He's worried to be eliminated, that's the thing. If the medivacs of TY aren't on the map and loaded up with units, he's revealed right now. He doesn't have a command center, so then TY would drop on top of this building, so the right-hand side, and kill them, and then he would just be eliminated, whereas there is a flying orbital command out there that he knows is out there, so...
Very nice save there on those Marines in the main base, and TY says it's time! He's going to jump in. The mass repair is nice, but it's not quite enough for GuMiho there. TY takes it out in a crazy messy base trade once again. I thought TY was way ahead, but GuMiho almost managed to clinch it.
What a sick game we saw here. And almost draw once again. Definitely could have been here. Things had gone a little bit differently, but TY, he's really good in TvT. Really, really good.
He's an absolute beast there. Really showing his class throughout that match. And, I mean, he got ahead early on, right? He had the fastest team, he had the faster upgrades, but he was very calm and patient about it, looking for the opening. He had great map control, and I mean, when the game finally devolved into that base trade, TY, he was decisive. That drop in the main, GuMiho wasn't expecting it at all. He got a little bit overconfident after he cleaned up the army in the middle of the map, and we keep seeing sensor towers and just no defense around the sensor towers, right? This is like a real common theme. These Terran players,
bluff, man.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it's the bluff tower. I think from now on, we're just going to see the Terran players going to identify where the sensor tower is and drop right in the middle of that area every single game.
Yeah, the GuMiho got caught with his pants down here. When that happened, he literally had nothing in the main. He died super fast, and then from there, usually if you start some sort of base trades, that far behind, that much longer behind your opponent has, it's going to be very hard to recover from that, because then you lose your infrastructure very, very quickly.
Yeah, it was really the siege tank micro. The elevator skill was so good on GuMiho. Like, you know, he went to siege up on the high ground, he evacuated, pulled them back, put them back up, he moved into the natural, and that's really what kept him in that game. But in the end, TY was too strong. He does take the first map advantage, and we are going to be going into map number 2 in just a moment. It is going to be on Belshir Vestige. And spawning up here in the top left-hand side of Belshir Vestige, our red Zerg, it is GuMiho.
In the south, playing as the blue Terran, he got a 1-0 lead. He wants to extend that lead. It is TY.
Belshir Vestige going to be an action-packed map, no doubt. One where the main base very prone to being dropped quite a lot. As the players get to 4 bases, it becomes very hard to defend. So similar to Newkirk Precinct, this isn't going to be like necessarily those Abyssal games or anything where the players are taking base after base. Very likely we're going to see both players going for broke very early on off 2.5 bases and really trying to get a lot of damage done.
TY went for an earlier gas, but GuMiho actually took double gas super early here in this game. So
cool to see that.
Yeah, gonna be rushing to some heavy tech.
Yeah, it's not very common in the current meta. However, you can just go for a very quick, double Reaper Cyclone, which was very the standard opening when the new Cyclone change did come out.
And then easily go into Raven,
Cloaked Banshee. There's a lot of options off this. And whilst it is a 1 base opening initial, you do still expand around the 3-minute mark. So definitely it's fallen out of favor because Terrans have gotten so good at defending it, but I'm sure GuMiho has his own individual spin on how to make this work.
Yeah, he's going to be committing to more aggression early on. Needs to achieve economic damage usually. And if there was one player that I would expect this out of, it's definitely him as well. Always with his special brand of Terran.
This SCV here, he has a plan. He has been conscripted into the GuMiho army, and he's been shoved a drill in his hand, and they've said, you're going into battle, soldier. Because right now, he needs to support this Reaper, and his job is to get one hit on TY's Reaper, so that GuMiho's Reaper wins the Reaper versus Reaper fight. And it looks like, so far, nice start to this harass for GuMiho. Does take down the SCV of TY, building that command center, slowing that down for the moment. And because TY's gone reactor, remember, he's going to have to pull a few SCVs down. There we go, yep, 2 SCVs conscripted for TY. They're going to have to join the fight, but he's actually being a little bit hesitant and losing a lot of build time on this command center.
Yeah, the second Reaper is on the way for GuMiho. I wonder, I mean, he's supposed to commit, right, to going up the ramp and trying to fight before there are more units from TY.
You know, you got to keep in mind, I don't think TY scouted at all this game, so this is this first kind of warning he's getting that there are multiple Reapers out here for GuMiho. The damage going down is very nice, but there is a Hellion and 2 Marines. TY is looking to trap this. He doesn't want to let them get out of there.
And he's going to target on that one Reaper that might be backed into a corner. They are going to be trying to get out of there.
Both
that's
Reaper
not gonna
grenades
escape.
went down. Didn't manage to hurt those units at all. Really nice cleanup for TY.
And behind is typical GuMiho, a Cloak Banshee over a Raven.
I love to see that, especially with the early damage he was getting done. You know, what would have been much better for GuMiho is if he got those Reapers out of there, he should have pulled back slightly quicker, because if he keeps the pressure up, he keeps TY back. And if you look at TY's vision, his Reaper's just coming across the map, and this is his first scouting information. Only as he sees this natural, he's going to go, oh, whoa, hold on a second, you've expanded really late. This is something you really committed to getting some tech out earlier than me, but luckily the Cyclone will stop him from seeing that Starport upgrading cloak.
Damn, do Cyclones always get outrun?
Yeah.
Or not, if the Reaper comes back in.
Oh, he can't let him see that Starport. A bit of
Wow.
a positioning. Oh, no, the Marines will shut that down. The Banshee does stay hidden for now. This is really important. However, TY is coming across with some more units. His Hellion might just barely see the Banshee.
I think he has an inkling of what's coming anyway, because he's getting a Viking and a Widow Mine right now. So that counter drop, though, going to be very dangerous.
No engineering bay and no Raven at home, though. So really, TY is super underprepared at home for this. He needs to do some damage right now, and I think he's going to. A Cyclone, 4 Marines, and a Medevac is going to rip apart just 4 SCVs. TY is worried about that siege tank, though. GuMiho's siege tank is going to come out. It's going to be the end of this.
Yeah, the tank comes out here, chasing away that Cyclone, kills it.
Very
Surprised
nice.
not to see TY pick up and try and escape. Oh! The Widow Mine blows up the Banshee
That's
across the
actually
map.
so huge. There's no engineering bay here for TY. There's no missile turrets right now. He doesn't have a Raven. If he didn't kill that, that Banshee was going to get out of that scan, and it was going to kill at least 10 SCVs. Somehow, TY gets the lucky pick up there with that Widow Mine, and now he's still in this game.
He was in a weird position as well, like kind of in the middle of his middle line instead of like around the top. I guess you can't really predict exactly where the Banshee will come, but very fortunate for TY there, who leaves this exchange with minimal losses, it feels like, compared to what it could have been. 29 walkers to 34.
That could have been game ending. Now GuMiho with his second Banshee, he just kills a Marine and then walks away, not wanting to get caught by a potential Raven. He hasn't seen the production of TY. He doesn't realize that Raven is only just about to pop out in a few seconds. So I think GuMiho, he did lose an opportunity there, but only down a few workers. He's still got a pretty decent setup at home, so it's not like this is game over by any means.
And GuMiho just going to be setting up defensively here in his main base. TvT is crazy, man. It's just like drops here and there. Like I pinch you, you pinch me back, and then eventually, like we go for the knockouts.
Eventually, someone pinches too hard, and someone ends up crying and running off to mom.
That's exactly what it's like.
Oh, he's trying to get the siege tank friendly fire by redropping that Marine, but great de-siege there, or unsiege, sorry, by GuMiho. So he purposely stopped his siege tank from friendly firing his SCVs to death, and he's going to go over there, drop a scan, and clean up that Widow Mine. Good defense here by GuMiho.
I have to say, these guys are very reluctant to make any kind of turrets early on. I would be all over the place in TvT, just better safe than sorry, right? Just make them all over the place, but they're like, nah, we got units, let's just split them properly in between 2 bases. Skip on that turret for now so we can get something else, and then when you do eventually move out, that's when you get it.
It's really interesting, in this Raven meta, it's something which is so common. Because people are going Ravens so much, Banshees have become so rare that people really are playing quite risky about them. But, oh, it looks like a nice little engage here in the middle of the map. The Vikings and the Banshee putting the hurt on, but TY's auto turret does a bunch of damage itself. The Banshee, though, does end up chasing off TY. TY saves the siege tanks, gets the most important units out of there, though his Raven, I believe, did fall.
Yeah, that was... Actually, quite sick here from TY. He put down the 2 auto turrets as there were like an entire volley from 4 Vikings headed for the Ravens. So that died right after, but at least kind of salvaged the situation for a second. Well, I was saying they don't make really too many turrets. TY is working on that.
Look at this positioning from TY. He knows that there's this really technical push coming out of GuMiho right now, which is so hard to stop. 6 Vikings in the air. There's no way TY catches up to that supply. And there's just siege tanks rallying across, a Liberator joining up, already a cloaked Banshee. He doesn't have a Raven. Even if he had a Raven, it would get shot down so fast.
Yeah.
How does he spot this Banshee? And how does he ever move in and stop these siege tanks from getting in on top of his production?
And the Vikings are actually going to land here.
Wow.
The tanks are covering them behind, so it's actually really hard to attack into
Stim
this.
just went down there. Great focus fire on the Vikings. The Banshee on the left-hand side. Oh, it looks like the Marines and tanks are going to get rid of one of the
All
siege
the Marines
tanks.
are dead, so that Banshee can have free reign over these tanks. He can't even go inside his main.
The
He's gonna have to pick
Starport's
up.
going down. The Starport lost its reactor as well. GuMiho with a landed Viking. Banshee siege tank push here is doing massive damage. He's starting to tear TY apart.
TY with the counter drop though, GuMiho was not ready. He's gonna start on losing some SCVs. He's gonna have to react, and in the meantime, GuMiho still threatening across the map against the TY, who's having to be super defensive here in his main.
Oh, here come the Liberators. This is it. This is the really nasty move. This is where things get out of control. But that drop on his side of the map is very important right now.
He's getting 1 Viking at a time, but his Starport doesn't have a reactor, so there's only gonna be 1 Viking against 4 or 5 of GuMiho, who's going to keep the pressure up across the map.
GuMiho is taking a lot of damage back at home. Those SCVs are not doing well against that. And oh my god, a beautiful drop there from TY. He finds a little opening in this technical push, takes out one of those siege tanks. Very important. Those 6 Marines in the back there as well, tearing GuMiho apart. GuMiho's multitasking not quite up to par. TY finds a way to take out one of the Liberators.
Wow, that was so impressive here. Still a Liberator alive though. He's gonna have to get rid of that eventually and start mining as much as he can. TY with a huge walker lead actually behind this. He's still killing a ton of SCVs left and right, just boosting from one base to another with that 1 Medivac and all the Marines. That dropped it so much. It literally salvaged this game here for him.
TY just showing his skill here. Able to micro the drop between the bases effectively. GuMiho couldn't keep up. He was trying to manage that very technical push, and he lost so many workers. If it wasn't for that, I think GuMiho would be in a massive advantage right now.
Look at his unit slot stat here. We're 10 minutes in and I feel like I'm looking at the human tech tree. If you press F12.
Of course, that was a massive amount of GuMiho's SCVs that went down, which is the biggest amount of damage. His unit army-to-army trades were incredible. Like, GuMiho has been so efficient, army-to-army, but really that one drop did undo a lot of his hard work. Now TY is way up in the economy. He's got the +1 upgrade ahead of time. GuMiho's only just catching up now, and his infrastructure is looking fantastic.
Yeah, our great observer pointing out that there is the 3rd orbital for GuMiho available. So even though he's behind in supply here, could be taking that 3rd base momentarily and then keep up with the aggression, or he might be the one that's attacked into because TY has more army right now. I think TY, with the drop that he had and the amount of SCVs he killed, he fully realized that he's probably going to be ahead right now. It's just about being cost effective, not overextending with the engagements.
Especially if he saw the 3rd command center. I'm not sure if TY did see that 3rd command center, but if he, I mean, he's definitely spotting it now, which gives him a lot of confidence to push across. His own 3rd is just starting. TY has committed a lot to his 2-base army right now. Marines and siege tanks coming in, of course, because his stim was slowed down. His own combat shields isn't done just yet. He wants to wait for that upgrade before he engages here.
The tanks of GuMiho are actually very spread out all over the place. We see 2nd eBay and Armory following this up for TY. TY never misses a beat with his upgrades. He's always on point, even in a scrappy game like this where he doesn't have nearly as much economy as, you know, in a game where passive things or not that much aggression would have happened. And that's why he's so good.
GuMiho going to come down to the left-hand side with a rather large drop. Once again, an SCV has been conscripted into the army because GuMiho just likes to have an SCV joining in with the fight, I suppose. Why not? But TY really kind of posturing around that right-hand side of the map. And GuMiho, he knows that he's way kind of down in some regards. And as a result, he hasn't felt comfortable moving his 3rd command center out yet.
I have to say, TY, he seems to really like expanding on location, like his natural was on location, and now the 3rd base as well, which is a little bit of characteristic. You know, you can fly that pretty safely and quickly. He was like, nah, I'll just make it there. I can.
sensing that he's got the map control at this point, but for now, it looks like it's coming to a close, that period of map control. GuMiho coming across with a massive push. The Marine count here is out of control for GuMiho.
He's going to counter-attack with this chunk of army here. He realizes that this is too far for him to come back home. He would have to engage into siege tanks. So he's just going to
there's nothing at home for GuMiho. He's getting overwhelmed. One siege tank dishes out a few very powerful shots. His SCV's being pulled in. GuMiho, actually, he's going to manage to hang on here. He manages to take out most of those siege tanks. He's still got one siege tank of his own. He does hold on to his natural at the same time. Takes out the third base here for TY.
Pulling the SCVs made a world of difference, and now he's chasing away that command center. That wasn't even an orbital. He's going to snipe that. GuMiho has a third base on the left-hand side.
Man. And TY's SCVs have actually gotten out of here, though. That's the funny thing. They're going on a real adventure trying to avoid this army. Right now, both players are still very close, but GuMiho is up in the army supply. Every second that goes by, though, TY gets closer and closer to those 2-2 upgrades. If those kick in, I think it's going to be lights out for GuMiho. He's got to make it happen now. This is his window. This is his moment.
The entire point of placing tanks there is covering that ramp here from TY to prevent him from going down or up as easily as he would like to. I can't believe actually his SCVs and 2 tanks chase away.
Wow, there's just too many Marines here for GuMiho. There's no way you can engage that TY. He's focusing down the orbital. It's going to go down, I think. No, the siege tanks just in range. They managed to hang on. No medevacs here for GuMiho. We're healing up those Marines. The Marines all deep in the red. Most of his tanks get dropped. TY finds a way to break out of this contain.
And he kills so many of these tanks. If he sets up defensively here, covers these units with his SCV as well, he might be okay, but the tanks weren't sieged yet.
It's a numbers game, but I don't know. The numbers of GuMiho, they're all deep red and orange at this point. It's getting really dicey. Since GuMiho invested in so many Vikings, he just doesn't have a lot of healing for his Marines. So even though his army is 30 supply up...
Oh, there's medevacs on the left.
Oh, that's massive! Medevacs going down. The siege tanks have to unload unsieged, and these Marines clean up. That's a very important tactical maneuver there for GuMiho.
What a sick move by GuMiho, anticipating the retreat here out of the medevacs and their pathway, calculated everything to a T, catches them, and he's now going to have 83 army supply to 48. Are you paying attention, Pig?
Oh, I am always ready for some supply analysis there from you, Todd.
The soup never lies.
It never does, especially when the workers are dead even. And you see a third base and a natural from GuMiho, whereas the third base is only just about to land for TY. This is a big window where GuMiho's been mining more, and he's going to dive in with the counterattack. Takes out one of these mining bases. He's going to jump in on top of the production. There is nothing left at home for TY. TY is going into desperation mode. It's base trade or lose right now for him. GuMiho's going to pull a few units. Doesn't have a lot at home. He's trying to get out some Liberators.
Yeah, he's trying to buy himself a little bit of time. With the reinforcements, he should be fine. And those Vikings, they've been so on point with what they have to do, defending, sniping, medivacs in this case. Going to be landing very early onto that third base.
This is a desperate situation for TY, to be honest. I mean, he's getting a few SCVs away. That's actually very important, those SCVs we just saw evading, because all of his other buildings can go down very quickly here. Meanwhile, I think there's like one Viking chasing off the orbital on the top right-hand side.
GuMiho is the one with more Vikings, so I think he's trying to reach a draw just by flying away out on the map and then covering his flying building with his own Vikings.
Yeah, this last orbital of GuMiho's, though, is getting down in the deep red, so he is losing a lot of those buildings. Is he going to be confident going for the base trade? It looks like he is. GuMiho's going to commit. His Vikings in the bottom right are taking down the floating buildings. He's still killing the last depots. There's a whole lot of GuMiho's production that is escaping.
Up there, I think.
Yes, these SCVs, they got out of there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. GuMiho. Okay, he's got his own SCV out. He's going to build a command center of his own.
That is so sick, actually, that he can stop that.
I think we should rename this the IEM World Championship of Base Trades, because that is all we are seeing today.
That is so sick, the amount of base trades that we've seen, actually. But it's the right choice. Every single time it's the right choice. You shouldn't go back and attack into siege tanks if you're already so far out across the map. You should go for the base trade every single time. And these guys, they know that's TY.
Oh,
he broke to start another building.
It's the barracks, you know, because there's no command center. GuMiho actually gets full vision of where these buildings are. GuMiho can see everything, because that's the way it works. If you don't have a capital building, a command center, a hatchery, all of your buildings will actually be revealed to your opponent until you rebuild one of those main command centers. So GuMiho gets to see everything. Meanwhile, TY on his vision has no idea where this command center is.
That's his last building, the command center?
That is
he's got a couple up there, but it's still very risky to move out like this. He has nothing covering his command center. We saw the Stargate of Showtime earlier being sniped, forcing a draw.
I mean, it doesn't 1,500 hit points.
I guess he's got his barracks. All right, he's fine. He's fine.
He's safe for now, and it looks like TY is just going to try and defend that main base, set up an impenetrable area. But the thing is, if GuMiho can just set up mining again and slowly rebuild an economy, it forces TY to attack him. TY can't build a command center.
Yeah.
He doesn't have money.
He's just going to tap out. You realize that GuMiho's not going to lose patience. GG. GuMiho brings it back in this best of 5 after another base trade here.
Beautiful play there from GuMiho. One or two moments where I thought things were going to get a little bit out of control, but what is so hilarious to me is that just push he did. It's like 6 Vikings, a Banshee, 2 siege tanks, and there was this great moment where TY realized what was happening after he engaged it in the middle of the map, and he was like, oh gosh, I need to slow this down. And you could see him moving his Marine tank forward, slowing it down, and I thought, oh cool, he slowed the push down by like a full minute or 2. Surely that's enough. And then you see 2 Liberators coming across the map, and you're like, oh, GuMiho, you madman. You're just going to siege up right on top of his base with your air superiority, and made things very uncomfortable for TY.
My favorite move from GuMiho is when he was about to be counter-attacked, he realized it very quickly and early, and he pulled the SCVs, because that one tank on the natural was a hero. He killed everything, basically the entire army of TY that was forced back with maybe like 1 or 2 tanks that left with their tail between their legs.
It was actually really funny, right? Yeah, because we didn't see the beginning of that engage on camera because there was so much going on. But I remember seeing, oh, there's about like 30, 40 Marines up there. That's just going to roll over GuMiho's base. And we look back and there's like 8 Marines left and there's corpses everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, what just happened here? That siege tank got so many kills.
TY got GuMiho, that's what happens.
Oh, well, the series is tied up here. 1-1 in this best of 5. Both of these players want to be going through to that Spodek arena. They want to go to the semifinals. Spawning up here in the top right-hand side, the red Terran playing for Psystorm. It is GuMiho.
And his opponents in the south, playing as the blue Terran, it is TY. Dead focused here.
Not too happy with the result in that last game. You know, as much as I was singing the praises of GuMiho's crazy air push there, TY counter-dropped, tore his economy apart, did, you know, a great job of holding off the push by taking out the siege tanks, and was ahead after that, even though there was a 3rd orbital, which was keeping GuMiho kind of even in income, despite being way down in workers. Like, TY was in a good spot, but GuMiho just so decisive there with the base trade. Belshir, it's always one of those maps where sometimes you get your armies caught on opposite sides.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened actually. Like he was with a lot of army out on the map, and GuMiho just handled that situation a lot better and faster, again with holding on at home and applying more damage across the map. And then we went into another one of those crazy base trades.
Speaking of giant doom drops and base trades, I mean, we're on Proxima Station now, so this is a map where not only in TvTs but also TvPs, the main base here with this huge dropping area has been abused so many times. We have seen Innovation twice in his series against, against Alive, and then previously in the day before, basically send 3 medevacs around the backside. At the moment the defender pulls out of position, he just drops everything in the main base, sieges up, and wins the game. So both of these players are going to really have to watch out for that one.
Nathanias' favorites. That's what these drops are called.
Really? Got to watch some more of Nate's lovely Terran streams. Shame we don't have him down here at this event.
Builds are mirrors so far, except for one thing. Reactor against Tech Lab here on this barracks to swap.
Wait, yeah, that's a very early Tech Lab. What is...
Oh, it's GuMiho, man, come on.
Okay, so like you can hear like the cogs working in my brain going, oh, what? I'm trying to think about what he can use this for. Now, there's very early upgrades, so he could do that, or he could just build a siege tank super fast. It's going to be really interesting to see what he uses that Tech Lab for. Is he going to go like Blue Flame or something? I have no idea. Looks like just a Hellion to start things off. And okay, it's just an early Tech Lab. All right, cool, cool, cool. He just changed up the order slightly from what I'm used to seeing. No worries, nothing to bat my eyelids about. Just getting a little bit excited over nothing.
It would be nice to see him try Cloak Banshee again, because last game, you know, he was supposed to do a lot, remember?
Yeah.
It didn't because, well, Scan and Widowmine and a little bit of misfortune, but if he was to try that again and kills like 10 to 15 SCVs, then TY would be in a wall of trouble, obviously. And also, like, there's always this mind game of, is he gonna do it again? He's probably not gonna do it again. Then that's when it flies in and you're dead. And there it is. Cloak Banshee is gonna be on the menu here.
Nice, and GuMiho gonna take out the Reaper of TY. Once again, getting a nice little aggressive edge here. but the Marines going to hold on to that ramp. GuMiho doesn't want to throw his units up there. And this Banshee, I still think Banshee openings are great. Not only were they still good in the Raven meta, because a Raven can't just magically be everywhere, but I mean, seriously, think about it. Everyone's building Ravens. Banshees are rare. People aren't getting those engineering bays. They're not getting those auto turrets. And if we've seen a lot of people scouting, their scouting really is not that amazing. So TY here, going for Ravens, we can almost guarantee that he's not going to drop an engineering bay. If that Raven's out of position, or if he goes 2 Ravens and they're not both covering the mineral lines at the right time, things can get out of control very quickly.
GuMiho already on 3 gases. Banshee plus Cloak and tanks is quite costly in gas, so he wants to make sure he keeps up properly here with that.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that much mech. Like, we see a lot of Terrans use tanks. You know, we see tanks are pretty good nowadays. But mech play, not really what they seem to be favoring almost ever.
And I mean, GuMiho's the guy that loves to mech in TvT, but he seems to have decided, nope, not making it happen on this patch. The tanks are so powerful that you just get so much maneuverability, and it's so hard to break those big drops in your main base once they get set up. So it's usually better to have the maneuverability of the Marines, so you can still have this very big staying power of the siege tank without giving up your maneuverability.
He's going to spot that Raven here. Should be flying right out of there.
You know, it's just Marines there, so every now and then you can try and do a bit of fancy micro to outrange those.
StarCraft Master.
Yeah, exactly.
You know how many tries it took me to complete that?
Oh, dude. I remember it would only give you the achievement if you played it on your own server, so I had to play it online, like with like Australia lags, like 150 ping specifically to do it. That was a fun week of rage in my life.
This was not the StarCraft Master, it was the StarCraft Super Master from Australia.
Oh yeah. The Banshee, though, does get a depot and picking away at these Marines. There's no Vikings out.
Yeah.
See, it's not like the Raven just automatically shuts this down, and he's so worried about another Banshee coming in the other side.
And he should be, because there is auto turret going to be a real threat, though, if he overextends.
Yeah, GuMiho was super careful. I love how delayed this is, because he's actually just focusing on tanks back home, Marines to be safe, and getting a 3rd command center.
Be chasing that. Oh my god, that auto turret.
Oh!
Whoa!
Yeah, double auto turret will usually be able to get a Banshee. But that's okay. GuMiho here, he's done a good little bit of damage. He's kept the Ravens at home. And this Banshee, he will preserve. He can repair that up and use that later on.
Double eBay going down here for both players. Not going to be seeing any mech here in this game. They're also going to be taking their 3rd base. And we're going to be headed into a longer game there.
GuMiho, here you like gas. He's got a lot of gas in the bank, but he's about to start double upgrades, double Viking production, and still non-stop siege tank production. So I can see why GuMiho is banking all that gas up, because he is spending it like a madman. You'll notice that TY seems to always be going for faster stim, faster extra barracks, but GuMiho is all about getting out as many of these technical power units as early as possible, and that's what allows him to do amazing pushes like what we are about to see.
And it's funny too, because TvT is not even the only matchup where he does that. Against Protoss, he does that quite a bit. Remember DreamHack over in Tours in France when he made it pretty deep. Even in some of his games against Protoss, he was doing those big pushes where he was sieging toward the ramp of his opponents to try and make him engage with like a really poor position. He just loves that style. Tank pushes is what this guy lives for. Everybody, I guess in StarCraft can apply their own style, but this guy even more so. He has his own specific style that we basically only see him do.
Oh, nice! GuMiho anticipates the move out there, because I think he spotted it with a Hellion and Reaper, and so he does siege up. And then these Ravens are going to come down to try and break this position, but great micro from GuMiho. Gets a tank for free and badly bruises the other one.
This was Battleship. He just sank a destroyer of his opponent here. That's for damn sure in the middle of the map. Was already set up there and killed quite a few.
You know, we need to make esports more accessible. We need to just put everything in Battleship terms. There needs to be like a picture of the boats on either side of the map, just so we can see what's being sunk. TY, is he going across the map with his Ravens and Vikings right now? Whoa. He's going to go try and intercept, and he's actually got the air superiority right now. GuMiho might just lose this air battle terribly.
Oof, a lot less Viking and only 1 Raven. PDD obviously will be very good. Did you just fly by?
Oh man, this auto turrets are going to be brutal. TY here going into a little bit of a risky maneuver. Oh, GuMiho is so far away. The Vikings are going to land. There's some Marines and tanks there. Stim is finished. Doesn't really get that much damage done, actually. GuMiho does a really good job of dealing with that. And it looks like GuMiho's not even going to pull home. He's just going to push his advantage.
This attack didn't leave Didn't live up to the hype big.
GuMiho, finally, in a pro game, we're finally going to see a Terran siege up back here. You can actually reach the mineral line from behind the natural, and it's such a hard position to get to. And this is nice, this is cute, but this is so dangerous. You can get cornered back here so easily, which is why pro gamers very rarely go for this.
I don't think TY has the medivac count, though, to like properly drop on top of this while he flanks, so he has to take his time, and that's going to be a third base that's not being mined from. And GuMiho across the map to avoid being hit by the same thing. Do you see what he did? He made a sensor tower on his third base, so he would see that coming from very far away if TY was to try and do the same thing. Look at the income.
This is actually doing a lot more damage than I expected. PDD's going down for both sides. Auto turret is, oh, that's a beautiful auto turret there. Double auto turret from GuMiho actually snipes one of TY's Ravens. Suddenly takes this air advantage. And these Liberators of TY, I don't know if they're going to be that useful. I think he's down on Vikings.
TY is taking a long time to finally clean this up. Looks like he's moving across the map with most of his forces. Might be trying to force another counter attack.
Well, those Vikings being all the way down here, they're not going to be able to get home to help, and those Liberators could be very deadly. GuMiho's going to need to get out front his natural and slow that push down, but I don't know if GuMiho has enough units. His Marines, ooh, his Marine count's actually really healthy right now.
What are the tanks shooting at?
Oh, it looks like they're just sieging away little by little here.
One of them can actually reach that starport.
Oh, the Liberators are about to siege up on top of this natural. More and more Marines coming out. The SCV's being pulled as well. GuMiho knows he needs to break this right now, but I'm not sure if he has the numbers.
Yeah, that might be an overextension, because he had some tank behind this, but he was afraid about the Liberator, so he engages first, cleans up quite a bit of this army, but he's not going to have that much left over there. Might be forced to pull back.
Yeah,
maybe he was buying time for more tanks
as well. This is actually very dangerous right now, but he takes out the starport of TY. Both players trading blows. This game is getting so messy. Neither player willing to give up ground here. The double Liberator push starting to get some work done. Both players taking big hits.
He's going to come in from behind with a couple of Marines here. Nice flank from both sides from GuMiho, who's going to clean up this entire force of TY down to the last medivac.
And he maintains this position. These three elite siege tanks down here have just been causing so much grief.
How do you engage into this? You can't drop on top of it.
Oh, he tries, but he just doesn't get those Marines in there. One siege tank finally falls. But yeah, this is just brutal. TY just caught in such a bad position, not expecting this push at all.
GG, GuMiho with a sick game here. Takes the lead 2-1.
Such a unique playstyle, and you can tell this is so awkward to play against, so different. But GuMiho making the Cloaked Banshees work, he's making the weird tank Viking Raven pushes work, and TY is just getting in a lot of trouble there. I think he's regretting that push out with the Ravens and the Vikings right now, because he didn't really do any damage to GuMiho's mineral line, and then he was way out of position to stop GuMiho setting up behind that mineral line.
If GuMiho can make the game a chaotic one, it's more his comfort zone than TY, it seems like, because TY, he hasn't managed these situations nearly as well, and GuMiho thrives in the chaos.
That is what he's known for, a master of the chaos. Guys, let's hear from the boys over at the desk on what they thought of this match.
That's right, GuMiho 2-1 currently up here in this series, in this TvT, and what there is there to say? Overall, all of these TvTs have been all over the place. Many, many, many base trades.
I'm surprised we didn't have at least 6 draws today already, because I don't know what's going on. It's indeed base trade after base trade. Very fun games though, very close game. I really started to get a little worried for GuMiho, because I felt he had 2 massive opportunities to win game 2 on Belshire. The first Cloak Banshee obviously shouldn't have died against the Widow Mine, and after that when he had like the little what was it, like soft contain with the Liberators and the tanks, and he landed the Vikings and he sniped him, like everything was awesome. And then suddenly he started taking a lot of damage against a single 8 Marine drop that didn't have stim. I was like, oh my god, he's falling apart, like this is going to be a one-sided series. And now suddenly we're looking at a 2-1 lead for GuMiho, who just played great here in game number 3, sorry, 2-3, blah.
2-3 what?
He played great in both of those games, so true, it actually worked, you know, in both. Awesome performance by him.
Yeah.
So, well, both these TvTs have been pretty close, and you know, how it turns out when it's close kind of tells you what kind of players are playing each other. And GuMiho and TY are weird. So these series have been going a little bit weird. It's been getting pretty insane. Make no mistake, though, the games have been very, very close. could have easily gone either way. I'm still expecting this to go to Game 5 and really have no idea who's going to win.
Yeah, TY seems to kind of have the chops to be able to push it to something like a Game 5 in a similar way to which Innovation did in the previous series. But as you say, and as our gentleman said at the desk as well, GuMiho injects this kind of chaos factor, which is just so difficult to predict as to what's going to actually happen down the line.
Yeah, he's making a lot of great moves and like kind of risky moves in a couple of occasions, but at the same time they all seem to be paying off, and at least he's very decisive about everything he does. You know, he wants to go for that weird attack on the low ground of the third base, and he does it. Sieges up immediately. Yeah. Risky move, but it pays off. Meanwhile, you see TY fly to the other side of the map with 2 Ravens and a bunch of Vikings. Then he drops one other turret, and he's like, nah, maybe this is not a good idea, and he retreats again after he just sees like a couple of Marines. I kind of would like to see TY be a little more decisive and just go for stuff, you know, have faith in your builds, have faith in the openings, because right now it seems like he's second-guessing himself way too much, while GuMiho is just doing stuff, and if it works, and if it doesn't, so be it, but he's definitely getting the better trade.
Well, that's actually what I wanted to ask you, Maynard. Is there anything that you would like to see TY change here, or does he just kind of need to stick to what he's currently doing, but gain a little bit more composure and buckle down?
I think just like solidify his play, bring in the reins a little bit and tighten things up. It's kind of hard to ask someone that's basically saying get good to somebody, which is, you know, obviously really unfair, and TY is an incredible player.
Of course.
But I think it's just a situation that, you know, GuMiho is bringing him down into the mud and making him fight on his level by being really strange and being really aggressive, and TY is just struggling to react, I guess.
But it's crazy as well that GuMiho gets himself in so many good positions. Like, even if some things go wrong, like that Cloak Banshee on Belshire, and then that follow-up attack where he didn't handle the drop that well, after that he just turns it around so quickly again. So you really gotta kind of start favoring GuMiho in this series. I really never thought I'd say that in a best of 5 against TY in the quarterfinals of a big offline event, but it seems to not truly matter how these games go, because whatever happens, GuMiho seems to be finding a way out of whatever situation he's getting in, and always gets the better trade.
It's not only our top 4 Terrans that have gotten so good, it's also Alive and GuMiho at the moment that are looking good as well. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We can head over to the caster's desk now for game number 4 here in this TvT.
Thank you, James and guys there for your opinions. Of course, we are going to be hopping into that game number 4 very shortly. And a new wave of Terrans outside of the top 4 seem to be making a name for themselves here at IEM Katowice. Just before this set, we did see a live takedown Innovation, 3-2 in a very clutch series. And now TY is just 1 game away from going out.
Yeah, it's crazy how things can turn like this, but GuMiho's been around for a long time, you know, used to play for FXO, he's been GSL, Codes, this guy is legit, right? And I like that he's kept it with his own style as well. He never really tried to change it, to reinvent himself. And he's working out pretty well here, I think, so far for him in this tournament.
He's going to have to keep doing it, going into Cactus Valley. Spawning up here in the top left-hand side, only 1 map away from going through to the semi-finals. It is GuMiho!
Towel Terran. His opponent in the northeast, playing as the blue Terran, it is TY.
Not sure if TY has too many nicknames, but I always think of him as just the master of builds, the guy I always look to when I want to study what the clean, best way to play Terran is at any point in time. Such a good player to learn from. So tight.
Yeah, but so far his builds have not been everything. You need to be winning fights, you need to outmaneuver the opponent, and it's gone in GuMiho's favor in the previous games. So he's gonna have to fix that if he wants to be successful here. Cactus Valley, horizontal spawns like this can lead to quite a few drops as well. I guess no matter where you are, right? When you have Ignite Afterburners, even cross map, you can just fly all the way around as well.
It's especially good for GuMiho, these spawns, having that main base wide open to him. TY is going to have to really watch out for Doom drops.
TY needs to give him a taste of his own medicine. He needs to siege that natural base from the low grounds.
He's got to try to do something like that. He's got a few nice attack angles, but it's going to be really difficult for TY if the game goes into an even mid-game to try and shore that up, because a sensor tower doesn't cut it. Yeah. Not in these spawns. You need missile turrets up there. You often need a squad of Marines or some Vikings out front, because otherwise GuMiho will be able to Doom drop that main and just tear him apart.
That's straight cross-map scout, by the way, by GuMiho, clearing the middle of the map, Sometimes you'll meet triple barracks there.
Yeah, that's actually probably exactly what he's thinking of when he does this. And I think the SCV will go home. No, it's going to meet up with that Reaper. So the Reaper here is going to catch the Reaper of TY. TY gets the second shot off. GuMiho's just going to have to pull on back for now. And that's actually really bad because now this SCV is exposed. Oh! GuMiho second guessing himself just a little bit here.
Yeah, kind of re-engage into one another. Production tab was a mirror here for the longest of times.
Oh, GuMiho decisively jumps on top of that. I really thought TY's Reaper had the first shot off before.
And he gets the scout, the clean scout behind this as well.
Wow. That's going to be a very nice start here for GuMiho. Really small advantages like this can really lead up to a lot more as the game goes on, because that Reaper's going to give him now follow-up pressure. Look at this. If he can get that SCV, that's going to be massive. Oh, looks like the Reaper and the Hellions are going to punish that. Oh, the Reaper just barely gets out of there with
grenade.
1 hit point.
That grenade was sick. SCV is like,
no!
Let me live. Let me hide between these cactus. Nope. Just going to get rid of it. And behind this, with the 2 starports about to finish, we'll see what they go into, but since it's Hellion against Cyclone, probably more Viking-ish than anything. Maybe Medivac. Yeah, Medivac actually.
So Cyclone, Medivac, Marine for TY, something which we've been seeing is a very common opening right now against Viking and extra Hellions for GuMiho. So GuMiho's got some nice maneuverability here.
GuMiho slowly pick off. He's leading to all of these.
This is really nice. He's even going to get the other Hellion. He will lose one of his own Hellions for it, but he's got a second Reaper here. 2 more Hellions joining in. And this is quite scary for TY.
You can re-engage actually with 4 this many Hellions.
He can, especially if he can force that Cyclone to move with his Reaper bombs. You know, keep it dodging rather than shooting. But he can't really kill the Cyclone with just Hellions and Reapers. You don't really have enough raw damage output for that.
eBay now gonna start. TY starting to worry about any kind of potential air units.
Oh, I think the Viking actually intercepted the medevac there. It is an empty one, but yeah, it took a lot of damage, and GuMiho already getting a bit of control over this game.
That's really weird, actually, to send an empty medivac, but it forces GuMiho back, maybe? He's just kind of going back.
Yeah.
There could be something there.
We've seen a few different players use this at different points where they're not sure they can safely send their units across the map, so it's this really cool way of saying, you know what, I'm going to get some scouting with this, and at the same time, I'm going to make it look a lot scarier for you, so that either it triggers you to rush in thinking I've sent units away when I actually haven't, or it triggers you to just go home and defend.
I have to say, GuMiho, one of the things that he's always been ahead has been the Viking and air control so far in the games that he's been successful in.
Oh, nice Viking land.
He actually lands that guy. It seems like he might have a little bit more units there, so he's actually going to engage into this. There is a medivac healing some of those Marines. Tank comes to reinforce.
Oh, looks like the siege tank will end up defending the natural. Oh, will it? GuMiho, you madman. He jumps on top. He even gets the siege tank snipe, but he is held in the end. And
he kills 4 SCVs in the main base.
Oh, the Viking! A new Viking comes in, but a great Marine drop on top of that here. Cute moves from TY. Going to start chasing that away. More Hellions diving in, though. GuMiho is not done yet.
And behind this, he's getting a Raven. He's following this up with a 3rd command center. TY adding on additional barracks. Steam pack on the way for both players. GuMiho is running this show.
Oh yeah, he's doing massive damage right now, really keeping TY on the back foot, and GuMiho, he wants that semi-final so badly. He wants to go into that Spodek arena, and he wants to eventually make it through to that finals. He's got Ravens on the way behind this. He's going for more barracks behind a double eBay and 3rd command center. His infrastructure is so far ahead right now, Todd.
Yeah, and with how well he's doing out on the map, I can't blame him, like, you know, for going a little bit on the greedier side. He will have enough units regardless.
This is a really good start for GuMiho. TY is going to need to buckle down to catch back up, and that's going to be a very hard ask considering the fact that he is in these spawn locations, and you know, he's going to be really worried about doom drops as the game goes on.
Yeah, TY can't just sit at home and, you know, try to play a passive game, safe and all. He needs to maybe take some risk, make something happen. Going for one of those pushes with the tanks eventually might be what he needs. And GuMiho, he's the Raven King, isn't he? Like, he gets quite a few of them and he uses them so well every single time.
They're so delayed as well. That's what's really interesting about this. Normally people rush them out.
If you have the gas, apparently Protoss players spend their gas on Archons, Terrans spend it on Ravens, and they're still pretty good.
It's very versatile as well. The real power is those auto turrets can just break a tank push, or, you know, allow you to shove into an area. They can harass. All the PDDs can just dominate an air versus air battle. TY is going to go for that 3rd base. He's going to start to push out with a little pressure here, but right now he does have that army supply lead. You know, GuMiho, as time goes by, is going to get further ahead, but right now TY might have a window to pressure.
GuMiho, his games, it feels like he thrives in chaos, but his main base, is so orderly. Like those barracks, do you see how well they're lined up? His parents never had to tell him to go and do his room, clean his room. He was always the tidiest.
Yeah, I love seeing a base like that. It's really clean. It's going to allow him to get back and defend Doom drops a lot easier.
Yeah.
And because it's all kind of pushed to the north side of his base, it's much less exposed to getting sieged from the low ground. So very well planned and designed base from GuMiho. He's still got these Ravens here. Doesn't really have any Vikings out to support them just yet, or not many. But TY is going to start to siege up out front is natural. His combat shields isn't even done just yet.
I really think he needs to do that on the right-hand side here. If you could start chipping away at this refinery. Obviously, the Ravens are very, very scary. The Ravens of GuMiho, you know, auto turrets, PDD as well.
Yeah.
Would be very strong, but it's just going to siege that bunker first and go for some sort of contain.
And the production starting
you
to
saw those
begin
too many
for
bags, by the
GuMiho.
way.
Oh, wow. I was just about to say, where's the Marine count for GuMiho? Looks like he wanted to go for a drop, but he might actually bring those medevacs home. I think he thought they got scanned, so he's brought them back, and he's just going to prepare for the frontal bust.
And he got something down there and on the map. Just a couple Marines looking to try and go around, maybe to catch TY off guard and kill some SCVs in one of his bases.
Oh, the double drop picks up again. It's going to go into the main base of TY, and TY doesn't have anything spotting for this right now. A couple of Vikings, but they're not on the right route. They're going to miss it, Todd.
Every single time. This keeps on happening.
Oh,
this could be a disaster here for TY. GuMiho looking to try and qualify for the semi-finals.
Oh no! And then he picks back up and flies back into the Vikings. What is he doing? No! Oh man, disaster! He was in the perfect position, but he second guesses himself
that was
and
weird.
Throws it away.
He scanned the main base at the same time, and he saw that there wasn't much there. So a big, big loss here for GuMiho, who shouldn't be stepping outside this area.
Nerves maybe getting the better of him here, right as he is on the edge of success. Suddenly, the army supplies are much closer. TY actually with the lead there. The auto turrets are going to lead the charge, but no, not going to commit. Oh, siege tanks versus siege tanks. It looks like GuMiho will take one tank out there.
Oh, he's going to drop on top of it because GuMiho was not paying attention. His Marines were quite far away, trying to deal with these tanks here as the Vikings move in. This time, TY has the air control with those Vikings.
And now TY bringing in a horde of Marines. GuMiho isn't going to be breaking out of here anytime soon. Air superiority goes to our blue Terran player. He's got the Marine count, he's got the siege tank count, and he's equal on upgrades. GuMiho's only advantage now is that economy and those upgrades, but his 2-2 is so far away. GuMiho, he's bleeding out units right now.
Struggling to break out of this position. The one drop that he attempted failed, discouraging even more to go for another one. Ooh, those Ravens quite exposed here.
And these Marines trapped on their own. No medevacs over here. GuMiho taking a long time to stim and turn around. He's actually going to have to use auto turrets to win this fight, but his Ravens both go down. And GuMiho, oh my gosh, this game is falling apart. He's going to rush out. He's going to go for the break, but I think it was mistimed a little bit. The Marines have reunited, and while he does clear out some of the siege tanks, he is going to lose so many units in the process. The Vikings coming in, the Liberators as well. TY is up 40 supply right now, Todd. And it looks like this man was not ready to give up just yet. He wants it. He wants it badly right now, and he's going to push in here, giving GuMiho no opportunity to land that third base. The tanks edging in, the Liberators supporting them. More and more Marines coming across this map right now. TY looking to go in with the final push. GuMiho, he's going to go for a desperate counterattack. He's trying to cut this off. The TY is relentless. He's forcing the SCVs off the line. The tank ball, he's shredding all of these units, and GuMiho's last hopes fade into obscurity as all of his push gets cleaned up. He's going to finally break out. But what does he have left? No SCVs whatsoever. A couple of red hit point Marines. The siege tank in the deep yellow. I don't think it's going to be enough. GuMiho is going to have to go for one last desperation attempt. But at the end of that, I think he's going to have to tap out. He's going to have to go into game number 5.
One last ditch effort here against TY, who's ready defensively. He's got a tank. Shouldn't overextend himself. Those Marines all injured, and so is that medevac. GuMiho still trying though. You gotta, I guess, appreciate the warrior spirit here, really staying in it until he's sure that it's completely over, but right now he's in a world of trouble here in this game. And GG gets called. GuMiho realizes that there is no chance left here. TY equalizes the score, finally. A 5-map series here.
Oh, GuMiho with such a great opening, but that double drop Oh man, that has got to hurt. TY there. It was almost the most bizarre kind of clip. Like the Vikings came from TY. They went in and they checked the path just after the drops went past.
Yeah.
And then the drops picked back up and flew right back into the Vikings when there was no way they were going to be coming back that direction. Such an unfortunate turn of events for GuMiho, but that's just how it rolls sometimes. No doubt he was thinking, you know what? It's better to just bring these Marines back, flank that tank contain, clear that up, and I'm going to be way ahead because I can secure my third base. But he didn't know about those Vikings. The timing there was just perfect for TY. It worked out very well for him.
The day started with a lot of one-sided series, but we're finally getting those 5-map series, those epic games here. Live Against Innovation was epic, and so is GuMiho versus TY. And man, these guys, they are relentless. They stay focused throughout these whole series, even though I'm pretty sure they're stamina heavy. Here we go.
The best.
Game number 5. We're going to be playing on Abyssal Reef, and in the northwest, playing as the red tier, and he's already sending an SCV out. It is GuMiho.
Gumi bro. Good there. Still a strong previous game. And his opponent down here in the bottom right. Probably would have been called the favorite before this series started. The blue Terran player, 1 game away from the semis. It is TY.
Game 1 and 2 scouted for the proxies early on. I hope for him it's in the plans here because he's being proxied.
Wow, that's so close as well. GuMiho, he doesn't pull any punches, does he? He's just gonna go all out here. Yeah. 2 barracks proxied, very possible. He drops a 3rd one as well, unless this is Jack G's odd 2 racks proxy build. This is a crazy aggressive build. He needs to do massive damage. And you know what he's hoping for? He's hoping for TY to do the same thing he keeps on doing throughout this series, which is take an expansion, do no SCV scout, and rely only on that first Reaper to see what's going on.
And go straight into a reactor, in which case you're kind of trapped in this thing where you only have 1 Reaper that you lose, and you can't be actually making units. It takes forever to reach your first Hellion.
And TY, he's going to be going for it, that fast factory there on double gas. And TY, he has actually dropped his fast second gas. So sorry, I didn't see that on the minimap there. This is actually much better for TY. Even though he hasn't scouted, having the fast factory means he will be able to build a fast Cyclone. And this is only a 2 racks version, not the 3 racks version. So this is not an all-in, but GuMiho definitely needs to get some damage done.
Going to be trying to pretend he's scouting normally, maybe behind this. Checks if there is a command center actually only before heading home. He sees that there isn't. Probably disappointing.
We need to watch from this Reaper's vision of TY's. This is the first scouting he's getting on the map. He's coming out. Is he going to see this? Is he going to see it? Oh, he sees the barracks and he runs away. Great reaction from TY. He needed to get out of there. The other Reapers are just popping out now. If he got cornered 1 versus 2, he would have gone down so quickly. But now he's spotted it. He's building a Hellion. He cancels it, starts a Cyclone, and he's got the second Reaper on the way. He's going to use SCVs to help him fight. He's got to defend here.
Nice dodging on that grenade. He's going to dodge the second one. Nice reaction time on that Reaper. That could have died very easily if he hadn't been paying as close attention.
Oh, great focus fire from GuMiho. Look at that. He just snapped that Reaper in half.
Split his head open, but he loses 1 behind this because of a little bit of a mispathing, misdirection.
Good micro from TY so far, and that Cyclone, that unit can kill about 16 Reapers on its own. Of course, it can't be everywhere at once, but that does signify TY stabilizing. Yes, he lost a bunch of mining time, he lost some workers, but he does not have an expansion with this opening. So you don't need to do as much damage in this situation as you do against an expansion build if you are GuMiho. So GuMiho here, he's got to be quite happy with what's happened so far, and using those Reaper Bombs, he can still do bits of damage because that Cyclone, if it eats the Reaper Bombs, suddenly it's going to be in big trouble.
He's trying to corner him. You don't want to overextend with that 1 Reaper here. TY launches a grenade. Nice dodge though at the last second from GuMiho, who loses 1 of his Reapers there.
Reaper for Reaper trade. Yeah, not too bad for either player, but TY, oh wow, already going across this map. There's already a Cyclone popping out here for GuMiho. It looks like 1 base Cyclone Wars is the order of the day, but GuMiho, his Reapers are going to counterattack. Are they going to find an exposed base, or will TY leave the Cyclone at home? Looks like the decision's made for him. The Reapers jump in just a few seconds too early. The Cyclone's still there. They're going to try and focus down some
depot!
SCVs.
He blocks him in with 1 depot and 1 SCV, blocking that off, and he's actually going to kill this Reaper squad safely here.
Wow.
Behind this, loses 4 SCVs for it, and now TY is going to be focused on the counter-attack across the map.
Faster Command Center is down for GuMiho. He has to defend, though, and that's going to be very hard. He's building a Liberator. Oh, I mean, that's going to be great to counterattack, but it's not going to be any use in the frontal engagements because there's Vikings and Cyclones out.
TY trying to bring GuMiho out of position here with the one Reaper. He's going to be engaging into those depot at the same time, trying to get...
Oh no, GuMiho, he hasn't pulled anything. He's just got a single SCV fighting this Reaper. This Reaper takes its third SCV kill. Uh-oh, GuMiho is starting to fall apart a little bit. He's worried about losing those depots. Finally, he goes back with his Cyclones to defend the mineral line, but no, that Reaper is still back there doing damage. SCVs have to do a citizen's arrest and finally shut it down.
And Liberator is headed across the map. I don't think this was spotted here from TY, so if it sets up and he doesn't realize, he's going to start on losing a ton of SCVs.
You can tell GuMiho, master of the chaos, he recognizes this is one of these very rare moves you don't expect in a scenario like this. Suddenly having a Liberator siege up on his main base, that's going to be devastating. All he's got is a few Marines building. I don't think he has anything that shoots up in his base right now. There's zero response to this. Oh no, TY. His Viking and Cyclones are all the way on the other side of the map. He's going to lose so much mining time here.
A lot of these SCVs actually from both players are really injured from either sides. SCV is truly the endangered species here in this game on Abyssal Reef.
Wow, this move is so big from GuMiho. Forcing all the workers to the natural and all the lost gas mining as well is massive. GuMiho finds a way after what looked like a somewhat lackluster Reaper rush. He's starting to bring himself into a very nice lead.
Yeah, producing Marines out of 3 barracks tanks at the same time. He's going to make a solid army here. Eventually, you know what's coming as well. He's going to do pushes. If there are ramps, if there are cliffs to abuse, GuMiho is going to be here and ready. He's going to use the map terrain to his advantage. One of the absolute best players when it comes down to that. I'm quite sure that he wants to do that once again here with a nice income lead right now for the Towel Terran.
And already 2 medevacs on the way as well as a very fast stim. So I can definitely see a powerful drop into the main base being something on the cards for GuMiho if TY moves out at all and isn't prepared. Of course, TY's got the faster 3rd command center. He's got Ravens on the way, so he's really looking for that longer game. But since we've got multiple barracks up for GuMiho, he's really building this mobile force, while TY doesn't even have stim started. He's got 1 reacted barracks. His mobility is severely hampered. He's not going to be able to contest the map at all. He really just needs to try and defend as much as possible.
TY just trying to set up that 3rd base here eventually. He's going to have to catch up on the production facilities as well. Because he's really lacking those 2 extra barracks. Whereas on the other side, they're already there for GuMiho and they've been for a long time. He's going to take an army lead eventually. Scans the main base and sees all that infrastructure.
3rd base is going down on location for GuMiho. This is one of these advantages you get by being the aggressor. Your base might be later, but you can build it right down there. And unfortunately, though, there is a Cyclone on the way, which might actually be able to cancel that. That would be a great move from TY if he can manage to delay the 3rd base of GuMiho.
Chases that away. All right, well, that was fast.
Cyclone there being as annoying as possible, but the Cyclones of GuMiho.
The Cyclone police is here.
Ready to shut down any command centers going down all over the place. Both players just macroing on up here. Of course, GuMiho, even though he committed to the fastest stim, I really think the Marine count that he's building up, that advantage is going to really show itself when combat shields and +1 is finished in about a minute's time, because we're going to see about 30 Marines on the map. They're all going to have combat shields and +1 attack, and I think that gives GuMiho a lot of aggressive potential. So
yeah.
I think TY might want to just sit on 2 base for a while. I think if he moves the 3rd out too early, it could give a window for GuMiho to just run in and knock him out.
Especially on this map, like the 3rd base is just in such an awkward position, right? Where it's quite far away from the natural. There's still some space around it that you can boost past and head straight into the main. If you get it wrong one single time, usually you're going to be in tons of trouble.
Oh,
so.
And GuMiho's coming in here right as the 3rd base is going down to land. TY's out in the open. The Marine from GuMiho does spot this. Oh my gosh, we are about to see a very important engagement. It looks like GuMiho picks up his entire army and he's going to start rotating to the left-hand side. He wants to doom drop on the natural. TY's vision is severely hampered right now.
Feels like TY needs a sensor tower maybe to at least see one side of the map.
He actually has a sensor tower. It's just, I only just saw it. It's almost impossible to see on the minimap because it's snow. Our observer just pointed out that he does actually spot where those drops are coming from, and he does manage to catch them. TY hanging on really well for now, but I think GuMiho, he might just unload and go for this.
Oh, no, he might boost past. He's thinking about it.
Oh no, I don't think that's the right call. I think that's suicidal. He's so far ahead and
tournament life on the line. If it works though, that would be insane because TY would be clearly out of position with everything around his third base. So he might just wait for these medivacs to be ready, drop into the natural with these, even though the Sensor Tower sees it, bring the army of TY in that position and then drop on the right hand side. If TY is able to realize what happens, goes for the medivac with the Vikings, he actually maybe would win the game right out.
Could work out really well. This is a distraction on the left-hand side. He's doing the scan there specifically to pull him out of position. The drop on the right-hand side is starting to move in. This drop is going to get destroyed. It does almost nothing. Shut down by auto turrets. This Doom drop into the main base, very scary. TY is already there, but I don't know if he's got enough units to stop it.
Oh, tanks are already sieged. GuMiho shouldn't overextend. He should just cover these tanks here to try and kill as much as he can. Even if he's just depot and add-ons, that would be enough. He's shooting at the SCVs actually at the third base.
He found the siege tanks exposed. He's going to drop right on top of them. GuMiho, he's finding his opening in the midst of the madness. A single Marine somehow got ignored in the natural, and it's starting to kill SCVs as well. GuMiho's finding an advantage for himself.
He already killed 10 SCVs. The main orbital command was lifted up as well. Even cleaning this will be tough for TY, who eventually does it. That brings us to 58 SCVs for GuMiho against 49 for TY. And nice lead to have the one hero Marine here, still alive and taking out SCVs.
It's Gabriel there, it's Hero Marine, literally. He's just killed so many SCVs. I think that's kind of the saving grace of GuMiho there. Actually, without that damage, I kind of think it would have been actually okay for TY. He did an amazing job of hanging on there. The supply lead was actually bigger for GuMiho before that fight, but he's still way ahead right now, and he's got his 2-1 on the way. You know, his second factory is down behind this, his mining is uninterrupted.
He might just do one more of those. Scan the third base, see that there is nothing on the right-hand side, and then just boost past and drop the main.
He could do that again. I wouldn't mind a frontal push edging in on the side of this third either. I feel like GuMiho, you know, he's pushed TY back into a 3-base setup. He's going to come in here from this side. The siege tank setup is very strong for TY.
TY very calmly, by the way, starts an additional factory around his third base. Forward as well, like that very easily could have been sniped. Oh, that's a CC actually, no, over there. Oh, that's pretty...
It's going to use that. I think TY is just going to turtle mode right now. This is kind of like that Innovation Alive Game 5, where Alive just kept hitting him, but Innovation would not die. I think TY is going to the same sort of turtle, let's drag the game out mode, but GuMiho still has the aggressive position. He's still roaming from side to side, and it is so hard for TY to keep track of the movement.
GuMiho with a nice supply lead here. Just a couple walkers ahead, but army-wise doing quite a bit better. Upgrade started a little bit awkwardly for GuMiho because I think he forgot the level 2 ground armor, but he's eventually getting it. Both players gonna get 2-2 here eventually, and +1 vehicle weapons. And TY gets another factory on the way.
Yeah, a little bit behind the second factory of GuMiho, but GuMiho isn't really using his just yet. He's more focused on pumping out those Marines
as quickly
as
great.
possible.
Another sensor tower in a great position here to spot on the right-hand side as well. Now that base will be sieged, and the tanks are a little bit behind here, this command center.
I feel like a lot of GuMiho's army is at home right now. I think he's very worried about potential counter drops. Marine's going to come forward and snap the Liberator. Great air control here from TY.
Forcing a re-siege here from GuMiho. He does not want to be over-eager. Standing just right outside the vision of that sensor tower, by the way, down there.
I think TY is actually managing to close the gap a lot right now. His 2-2 has finished. He's managing to get very close to maxing out.
Could get lucky there if he meets those medivacs somewhere.
This is like the only hole in GuMiho's vision. Those two medivacs are flying right through it.
Setting up on the right-hand side, in the middle of the map as well.
Three-pronged push from GuMiho.
That counter drop from TY could be huge if he defends properly at home.
Oh, GuMiho, he's going to try and break these two isolated siege tanks. He takes some nasty shots, and I don't think this was a good plan. TY is too quick on the response. There's a drop going into the back of TY's main. This is his one hope, because his army on the right-hand side is way out of position as well.
And the double medivac drop on the left-hand side is finally posturing forward. I think he was pulling back here for a little bit. That base is going to be sieged though, and TY is supply blocked here.
This is nice. The drop in the back starting to do damage. Marine stim forward to kill the Liberator, but oh gosh, these trades are terrible for GuMiho. And TY, he's just cleaning up everything. He's shutting down all of GuMiho's attacks. He's defended every angle. And even though, okay, this orbital command might go down, GuMiho might find a scrap of damage here.
TY going for the third base across the map of GuMiho. That was very exposed. There was one tank there, but he's going to take out the entire mineral line very quickly. might have to pick up and evacuate eventually, but TY takes a supply lead in this game. What in the world is going on?
And he's even going to waste more and more of GuMiho's time here. Going into the main base, the 3-3 upgrades might even be exposed to this drop, but it looks like TY, oh man, he's just got enough units here. He's going to overwhelm these Marines. Not quite.
I mean, he traded so well.
Back does help out.
He traded so well regardless. TY with the supply lead now against a struggling GuMiho, who still has 3-3 on the way. That's the big thing that, if it kicks in, could put TY in a lot of trouble, but right now TY somehow really climbed his way back here in this game with some nice counter drop and defense at home at the same time.
The air superiority control here for TY seems to be just getting him out of control. GuMiho can't seem to find an opening. He's going for the more mobile mass medevac marine tank composition, but he's just not able to find the right angle, and whenever he does push the front, those Liberators and Vikings are just making mincemeat out of him.
115 army supply to 109. As TY is finally feeling confident enough to move forward a little bit more, as much as he's still protecting his bases and holding on to them.
Things are getting very tense right now. TY can sense that he's back in a good position. You can see him sending more and more units out onto the map. He's starting to vie for that control a little bit more. He knows it's dangerous though. He can't send his whole army out because he's got so much invested in that air. Oh my god, GuMiho's going for a crazy drop!
Yeah, he's gonna drop a massive army into the natural base of TY that was in a close enough position to just come back and clean it up. GuMiho is losing everything here. In a game he had the lead in, somehow TY is just crushing everything that GuMiho has. He lost patience, and look, he's showing emotion here.
My mouth is wide open right now. He went for a doom drop, but there was no response for the Liberators and the Vikings. TY controls the skies, shuts down every single angle of attack, and he brings it back with the 3-2 victory. Wow. He's going to be going through to those semifinals in the Spodek Arena tomorrow. What a relief. After being down 1-2, brings it back. And even in that final game, bringing himself back from the brink of defeat once more. A heroic effort from our victorious Terran.
TY stayed patient, and it paid off eventually. He had the good defense. GuMiho maybe some nerves here, I think, hitting him maybe in that last game, because that wasn't characteristic after playing so well the whole series for him to attack like this into a ramp and tanks.
It's a hard situation, you know, there's so much pressure on him in that moment. And I've got to say, he showed a lot more comfort when he was the one with the control of the skies. We saw in that last game, it kind of switched around there, and the bases were so compact, the sensor towers were so on point. TY just covered every option, and right whenever GuMiho found an opening, the Liberators would come forward and just ruin his position. And buckling under pressure just a little bit there, but TY played a splendid game. We are going to be hearing from the man himself on stage after a very quick break. Don't go anywhere, guys.